Sahara Desert is the largest hot desert in the world. It is the world's third largest desert, the first two which are the Antarctic and the Arctic, which are considered cold deserts. The surface area of the desert is 9,400,000 square kilometers. The Sahara Desert is located on the continent of Africa. Majority of the Sahara consists of check, which are large areas covered with sand dunes. Most of the sand dunes reach the height of 590 feet. Rocky hamada, which are stone plateaus, drivable plains, dry valleys, and salt flats, are all part of the geographical features in the Sahara Desert. The desert is known for its temperature. The Sahara has a north and south margins. It has a dry subtropical climate in the north and a dry tropical climate in the south. In the dry subtropical areas, the climate is filled with cool winters and hot summers. The dry tropical is filled with a dry and mild winter, a hot and humid springtime, and a rainy season in the summer. In the dry subtropical, which is up north, the temperature is an average of 20 degrees Celsius, and the winter is about 13 degrees Celsius. The temperature remains consistent throughout the year. Strong winds blow throughout the desert, causing sand to be constantly moving around. But these strong winds help keep the heat to an average temperature. However, in the dry tropical regions in the south, the climate is impacted by the continental subtropical air mass. The average temperature is 17.5 degrees Celsius throughout the year. However, in the summer and the spring, the temperature usually reaches 50 degrees Celsius. There are a few bodies of water throughout the Sahara. The Nile River and the Niger River are rivers that flow through the desert. While those are the two rivers that flow through, the desert has about 20 lakes. However, only one lake has drinkable water, which is Lake Chad. It is located at the southernmost edge of the Sahara. The desert has aquifers that are located above wadis. When the ground is high, the water rises. These become to be known as oases. This is how most water is received because rain is not much of help here. Rain averages about 5 inches per year. Some areas may receive less than 1 inch of rain. There are many species in the desert, which include both plants and animals. One of the most well-known animals in the desert is the camel, more specifically the dominary camel. Other animals include the gerbil, the jerboa, the Cape hare, the desert hedgehog, the Barbary sheep, the Dorcas gazelle, and the sand fox, and the common jackal, and the spotted hyena, and the slender mongoose. As well as the desert is home to over 300 species of birds, which include larks, ravens, and ostriches. The lakes and rivers also have animal life. Frog, toads, and tadpoles also live in the lakes and rivers. Chameleons, skinks, and cobras can be found along the rocks of the sand dunes. Only certain animals can be supported by the Sahara Desert because of its lack of water. These animals have been able to adapt without water and deal with hot temperatures, just like the camel, which can store food and water in their humps. The Sahara does have some plant life. The highlands contain concentrations of grasses, shrubs, and trees near oases. There are a few salt-tolerant plants that are able to withstand the desert. Some plants include the cypress, the olive tree, the mesic tree, as well as the acacia trees, artemisia, duum palm, orlander, day palm, and thyme trees. The soil of the desert only supports high folate plants that can withstand the salt depressions. Just like animals, the plants also have adapted. Grasses and small shrubs and trees are all drought tolerant. The African peyote cactus is able to store water for long periods of time. The habitat of the Sahara can have some issues. Degradation is a problem that habitats have, and it's a problem the Sahara Desert has. Most of the degradation is located where the oases are found. Habitats are extremely altered by human activities. Trees have been removed for fuel by patrolists and traders. The Sahara Desert is not protected in a conservation viewpoint. Many people who live in the desert or around it survive by hunting and trading. It causes the enlargement of species and destruction of habitats. There are also the pressure of limited resources in the desert. Population of large mammals have been greatly reduced by hunting for food and as well for sport. The addax, for example, is now critically threatened with extinction because it is overhunted. Desertification is also a problem. The desert loses its bodies of water, causing vegetation and wildlife to dry up. In the past, projects were done using irrigated water pumps from underground aquifers. This, however, led to soil degradation and salinization because of drainage problems. To fix these problems or to prevent more issues, the Sahara Desert needs to protect and immensely stop hunting. Populations are constantly interacting with one another. They can compete, share, or live together. The organisms interact when it comes to food. They can be in competition when species rely on unlimited resources, such as a cheetah and the spotted hyena. They compete for kangaroo rats and other meats, as well as predation, such as when an organism eats another organism, such as a snake eating a mouse, as well as herbivory, when an organism eats a plant, such as the addax antelope that eats grasses and leaves, as well as mutualism is also seen when organisms live together and help each other, such as the bats who eat nectar on the cacti and the cacti gets pollinated. All the organisms belong on a food web. A food web is a graphical representation that shows what organism eats another organism. On the food web are the primary producers, such as the plants that grow in the desert, such as the cacti, sage bushes, and acacia trees. They are able to create their own food using photosynthesis. Next are the primary consumers. These are consumers who eat the primary producers. These include the lizard, the insects, the kangaroo rat. The next level are the secondary consumers. These are the consumers that eat the primary consumers. These include lizards and snakes and other reptiles. Finally, we have the tertiary consumers. They are consumers that eat secondary consumers. These consumers are the hawk and the fox. The food web keeps the ecosystem in equal and stable state. If one population begins to decline, it can affect the other populations. For example, if the hawk were absent, the population of the grasshopper would decrease because the population of snakes will increase, causing more grasshoppers to be eaten. Another example is if the snakes are absent, the hawk will go extinct because it has nothing to eat. If the primary consumers disappear, and then so would the rest of the chain, and the plants would be overpopulated. Populations are able to drive other populations into extinction. This is why populations affect one another. The Sahara Desert doesn't have many issues with emigration and immigration. This is because not many people live in the Sahara Desert, nor do they want to live in the Sahara Desert due to its harsh climate. Most people just travel through it to get to other parts of the Africa continent. Just like any ecosystem, an invasive species may be introduced to the environment. If a new species is introduced, this can create problems, such as more competition. The current species may have more competition than before, thus this can limit the food supply and may cause one species or more to decrease. As well, the invasive species could be a new food supply. This could cause the current populations to grow since they have more to eat. Since the population will get more food because of the invasive species, it may be reserved more. There are no current invasive species in the Sahara Desert. However, the Sahara mustard plant has migrated and has become an invasive species for the Sonoran Desert and the Mojave Desert. It is damaging their ecosystem. A keystone species in the Sahara Desert would be the kangaroo rat. The kangaroo rat plays an important role in the ecosystem. These rats help preserve the water. They get enough water by eating the plants. This is a sufficient amount of water for them. They also eat seeds that most other species can't. This gives them an advantage. They also help keep the desert shrubland from becoming grassland. They also help maintain animal life. The hawk and the snake feed on these mouses, thus providing food for them. Without the kangaroo rat, these predators would not have a food supply. There are many endangered animals of the Sahara, such as the Addax maculatus, which is an antelope. It is currently on the endangered species list since the year 2000, and to this day, there is an estimate of only 300 left. The population continues to decline due to ongoing threats on hunting and habitat loss. Another animal that is similar is the nagardama, better known as the gazelle. It is currently on the critical endangered list since 2006. It has become endangered because of excessive hunting. There are only about 500 individuals left, and decline of the species is expected. The Saharan cheetah is also critically on the endangered list. There are fewer than 250 adult cheetahs. The population of the cheetah is declining, all due because of the loss of its habitat, hunting, as well as the reduced population of its prey, which include birds and rodents, has allowed the cheetah to become placed near extinction.